Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. We've had some crazy leaks on some crazy big shoes. So first of all, we got a leak of the Sabrina 3. Also the AE2, which is supposed to be confirmed. We already know what the tech specs are, which we'll go over. But yeah, we know what the AE2 is supposed to look like, even though there were some samples and some other shoes kind of like going around. But we actually know what it's supposed to look like now. And of course, we have the Curry 13 as well, which, you know, Steph Curry was seen playing in it. And also, of course, we have the Ja 3. So yeah, let's get it started right off with the Sabrina 3, right? So as you guys all know, so the Sabrina 2, right, this shoe right over here was the #2 most worn hoop shoe of this season, which is kind of insane. #2, I believe it was. So yeah, the Sabrina 2 is very popular, not only among NBA athletes, but also I think just in general, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people at the gym wear the Sabrina 2s as well as the Sabrina 1s, you know what I mean? But the Sabrina 1 and Sabrina, or her actual entire signature shoe line has been really nice. So yeah, we only have like some potato quality pictures, but it looks like kind of like a hybrid of the Sabrina 1 and 2. We have a picture of the toe box right over here. It looks like a really thin like screen mesh material with some like embroidered parts, right? And of course that's there for durability and support. It also seems to have a synthetic material going around the toe box as well for extra durability and support. And it seems like we have some flywire cables. And also here in the heel, we have an I for her last name. You know, we have that here in the Sabrina 1. In the Sabrina 2, not as much, but it was here in the outsole, right? You guys can see the I. And then they're going back to the I design of the Sabrina 1 in the Sabrina 3. And it seems like we have a plastic swoosh. We have a very wide base as well in the forefoot. And you can see, just like in the Sabrina 2, you know, it looks like something comes up. You know, it looks like it's rubber, right? Or actually, it looks like rubber and then a little bit of the foam, just like here in the Sabrina 2, right? So of course, that'll be good for lateral containment here in the forefoot. And yeah, as far as the cushioning setup, we don't know. And also for the outsole, we don't know what that looks like either. But I'm sure the traction is going to be really good. I mean, the Sabrina 1, Sabrina 2 were very nice for the traction. But yeah, it looks very similar. Doesn't really seem like they changed all too much. You know, it probably will feel very similar. And the cushioning setup is probably going to be the exact same as well, like a 4-foot, you know, zoom unit. Not very nice, but yeah, it's a little bit of bounce, you know, and then probably Cushlon, and it'll probably have pretty nice heel compression, right? So yeah, it looks good, and it looks like the Sabrina 1 and 2, and if it performs anything like the Sabrina 1 and 2, I'm probably gonna like the Sabrina 3, right? All right, next we got the Currys. So the Currys are very interesting, right? So like I said, we did have, you know, some on-foot pictures of Curry warming up in the Curry 13, and it looks kind of crazy, guys. So we have this kind of like gunmetal silver colorway, and oh, there's actually a midsole. You guys see, and you guys see the compression marks on the actual midsole. So hopefully it's gonna be a soft cushioning setup. And also it looks kind of high up off the ground. It probably comes up kind of like a cage, you know, wrapping around the heel a little bit. So obviously your foot is not on top of all that foam, but it does look pretty dang thick. And, you know, Currys usually have pretty good core feel, so maybe it might be a little bit higher up off the ground. And because Steph Curry is getting older, maybe, you know, he wants a little bit more cushion. But it definitely is a huge departure from his entire shoe line, which I love, right? From, of course, Curry 8. Right, we got the Curry 8 over here. It was groundbreaking. You know, it was using flow. There was no outsole. It was super duper lightweight, amazing traction. Picks up a little bit of dust, right? Same thing with the Curry 9. Recycled outsole and midsole. Pretty much the material is a little. I mean, obviously the upper is different, but pretty much the same feelings true. And then we got the Curry 10, of course, right? Look at the outsole. Very similar feeling. You got the midfoot chain plate. You know, the upper is very similar, you know what I mean? Very similar feel on foot as well. And then we got the Curry 11, of course, which had the dual density setup, but still not that different of a feel. Just has a little bit more forefoot flex. The Curry 10, not as much, but we had this crazy curve shape, so didn't really mind it all too much, right? And then of course, the Curry 12 is pretty much the exact same setup. Pretty much, you know, it doesn't feel all that different, you know what I mean? So it's just I guess Curry, he likes to have, if he likes something, he keeps it the same, I guess. But that hasn't been the case for the rest of his signature shoe line. Like his earlier signature shoes, they were all very different in how it feels as well. So anyways, yeah, for the past, what, 5 freaking models? Pretty much 5-6 years, it's been the same freaking shoe. You know what I mean? Also, all of its freaking Protros. The Curry 4 Flotro, right? The outsole. The Curry 4 low Flotro. You know, the Curry 2 low Flotro. The Curry 1 low Flotro. You know what I mean? The Curry 6 low Flotro. Just all the same, right? But here in the Curry 13, I'm very, very excited, right? So, yeah, we have an on-foot shot. It actually looks pretty dang cool. I don't like how much the heel protrudes out though in the back. You know what I mean? That looks kind of like bulky, you know, and also with all that foam. But if you guys didn't know, we actually had some, you know, leaked images of the actual shoe, right? So yeah, as far as the outsole goes, it seems to be using flow still, right? And it seems to be just like a harder flow probably, you know? So of course for durability and yeah, if it's still flow, it's gonna have amazing traction, stop very, very hard. Hopefully it doesn't pick up as much dust as, you know, the regular flows, but it'll probably be around the same. We have this crazy kind of like opening here in the forefoot as well, and that's probably exposing whatever foam they're using. It's probably flow, but it's a different density probably, right? And also it is decoupled. We do have a plastic midfoot shank plate. It looks like we got the Roman numeral 13 as well on that shank plate, and then in the heel we have the same flow, it looks like, and then also a hole probably exposing the flow cushion. And then of course here in the heel we have this kind of like water droplet design with Curry's logo, which is pretty cool. And also it says flow in the back of the heel, right? And that's on the actual outsole part of the flow, it looks like. And then it looks to have another kind of midsole, which is probably a different or like a softer version of the flow, which is they're probably using like the dual density setup. But hopefully, you know, it has nice cushion. Again, it'll probably have nice compression. We do have a lot of that midsole exposed. And then the upper also looks to be like a molded, heat molded, like textile material or something like that. We do have like a curved line design on the entire upper as well. And also look at how high that freaking shoe goes up. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Hopefully it's just like a really soft knit material, you know, that kind of like cups your, like the back of your leg, your foot a little bit. Hopefully that's not too stiff, but yeah, it does look very, very interesting, right? But the upper does look a little bit different, you know, in the heel though. I mean, this is obviously a sample. It says sample on the inside of the shoe, so maybe they scrapped that design, and then the cut of the shoe is a low cut, and the upper seems a little bit different as well, and they got rid of that kind of like crazy heel part, as well as the water droplet design in the actual on-foot picture of what Steph's wearing. But overall, the cushion and also the outsole looks to be around the same, you know what I mean? It looks like they kept that. So yeah, very, very excited about the Curry 13s. I don't want to get my hopes up though, because, you know, I've been disappointed like 4 or 5 times, you know what I mean? So yeah, especially with all the Flotros. But yeah, I am pretty dang excited. I really, really am curious as to how this shoe is gonna feel, especially with the cushioning setup. Hopefully the underfoot cushion is nice, right? All right, next we got, of course, the AE2. So I got the AE1 right over here. And as far as the first leaks go, and these are the first pictures that leaked, and this is what we thought the AE2 was going to look like. You can see Anthony Edwards logo on the tongue, right? And that material looks kind of crazy. It's just this like plastic material. It looks really, really heavy. And also the outsole looks pretty crazy as well. You know what I mean? You can see that full length plate too. And it looks like a second version of the AE1. You know, it has that kind of crazy plastic and all that, right? But apparently this is what the AE2 is supposed to look like. And honestly, I actually kind of like how this shoe looks, especially this colorway, this black and kind of like purple and red. Maybe it's the USA colorway, right? But it looks really, really nice. It looks old school as well as far as the overall design goes, right? And like I said, we do have the tech specs for the AE2. So first of all, it says TPU louvers, right? And louvers, the design is supposed to be like a blind. It's apparently, I looked it up, it's supposed to be like a straight line design, and kind of like blinds, right? So it says dual durometer TPU louvers at the forefoot provide strength and lightweight containment. TPU with carbon fiber at the heel delivers crucial lockdown, right? So that louvers design, it's probably that crazy plastic piece that we can see in this orange colorway, you know what I mean? And also we can see that louvers design, you know, like just straight lines going throughout the entire plastic piece. But yeah, of course, that looks crazy. Hopefully, you know, it looks really good for containment and support, but how stiff is that plastic? You know what I mean? Like hopefully it doesn't hinder the flexibility of the shoe too much, you know, just like having that right here, you know what I mean? Like when you bend your foot, this entire part of the shoe bends, right? And it bends in and digs into the top of your foot. So if that plastic piece is really stiff, it's gonna, you know, hurt, you know what I mean? So that's kind of crazy, but yeah, again, we'll have to see on that. And also it says carbon fiber in the heel. So we can see this kind of like curved shape design. Looks kind of like a shark fin almost in the heel. And I'm guessing maybe that is carbon fiber, you know, and that's just like an external heel counter. It's kind of hard to see because the, you know, the video quality is not the greatest, but there's that. And then next it says soft armor, lightweight molded textile in midfoot provides comfort plus protection for ants' explosive movements. So you can see kind of like that molded design, of course. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a very stiff and sturdy material. I don't know, guys, it just looks like a really stiff shoe to me, you know? It also says propulsion plate. An articulated propulsion plate cultivates maximum takeoff with each step as well as provides necessary torsional rigidity. And of course, the AE1 had that as well with the full-length plate. It also has light strike. EVA surrounds a light boost midsole for long-lasting responsiveness and provides 20% weight reduction to the AE1. So is that saying the foam is, you know, providing 20% less weight? You know what I mean? Is it only the midsole that they weighed, or is it the entire shoe that's 20% lighter than the AE1? Because the AE1 is freaking heavy. I think this shoe was like 14 ounces or something like that, right? No, 15.8 ounces, guys. This shoe is freaking heavy, which is, I didn't really like too much. I mean, once I started playing it, I didn't mind it as much because it wasn't super bulky and it was very responsive, but comparing to other shoes that are just as, you know, responsive as the AE1, I like playing those shoes better, right? And also, of course, light boost. Rim and core construction with light boost ensures every step, so Ant has everything he needs to dial in for the 48 minutes. And there is rubber herringbone, multi-directional rubber herringbone outsole for optimal traction. And of course, you know, the first leak of the AE2, we had a picture of the outsole and that didn't have herringbone. So this is probably just like a sample design. And then the actual AE2 that was, you know, leaked, that it looks like, I mean, this is a white colorway, so you can't really see the outsole too well. Like, you can't really see the outsole at all. But it looks kind of like it has herringbone. I can't really tell. But yeah, I actually really like how it looks. Hopefully it's not too stiff or bulky and also as heavy as the AE1, right? And last but not least, of course, we got the Ja 3. The Ja 3, it looks freaking fantastic. It looks amazing. And it just looks awesome, first of all, because it says Ja on it, which I think is really cool, right? So if you guys didn't know, the swoosh, they turn it on the side so it makes a J, and then you can see that kind of like design with the rubber outsole and that kind of like spiky arrow design on the upper, and that makes an A. You know, that's actually intentional, which looks awesome, right? But anyways, as far as the tech specs go, we don't have full tech specs, but we do know that it's going to have a full-length ZOOMX midsole. You know, that's what it says in some of the articles that I was reading. And as far as the release date, it's releasing August 15th. You know what I mean? So that's actually like 4 months. Was it 4 months? Yeah, that's like 3-4 months from now. And this is the max volume colorway, and it's supposed to retail for only $130. $130, guys. And they're giving us ZOOMX. That's nice. In ZOOMX, they usually, you know, Nike usually puts it in their highest, you know, most premium, most expensive shoes, but they're giving us ZOOMX with the Ja 3 for $130, which is unheard of, right? So hopefully, you know, Nike's like, okay, sales aren't too good. We're gonna go back to quality. We're gonna go back to having amazing feeling and performing shoes. And we're gonna give it to the consumers for a great price, you know, because, you know, Nike's been lacking a little bit. It's been pretty dang cheap, right? But yeah, with ZOOMX, well, hopefully it's nice, right? So first of all, as far as the outsole goes, we do have Ja's logo going throughout the entire outsole. It looks like, look at that, right? Also, we do have a midfoot shame plate, and then also as far as the entire midsole goes, it looks hella cage, you know what I mean? Like, we have a plastic, it looks like, and then also with the outsole design, it looks like some like monster clawed the entire shoe, you know what I mean? Which is a really cool design, but yeah, there's no exposed midsole, it looks like, on this shoe at all, right? It's just rubber and plastic. So hopefully, maybe it might be a ZOOMX drop-in, but it doesn't say anywhere that it's a drop-in midsole. It just says full-length ZOOMX. If it was a full-length ZOOMX drop-in, that would be insane, guys. But also here on the medial side, they just printed or colored the swoosh on, just kind of interesting. But yeah, the upper also is kind of crazy. Obviously that's supposed to be, you know, Ja's logo on the upper with this plastic material. Actually kind of reminds me of the Kyrie 3. You guys remember the Kyrie 3 material, right? Obviously that's supposed to be his logo, but on some of the smaller pieces, it just looks like an arrow, right? But yeah, as far as the upper goes too, it looks like a textile material, and it looks really thin, but also it looks really stiff. You know what I mean? So hopefully it's not too stiff, but honestly, I really like how it looks, and a lot of you guys seem to like it as well. The only thing I am concerned about is the cushioning setup. Hopefully it's not terrible or a disappointment, but yeah, they are caging the hell out of that entire midsole. Like, no, there's no midsole or foam exposed, even in the heel, it looks like, right? So anyways, that about concludes this video. You know, there's a lot of shoes coming out soon. Very, very excited. I'm excited for everything. Like the AE2, the Ja 3, the Curry 12, the Sabrina 3 as well. You know what I mean? There's a lot of dope shoes coming out. So tell us what you guys are most excited about down in the comment section below. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.